Now I wanted to invite Adam Denenberg up from iHeartRadio, who's the Chief Technology Officer, and talk a little bit more about how they're using data at iHeart. Welcome, Adam. Good to see you. So first, maybe just a little background about iHeartRadio and what you do.
Sure. So iHeartRadio is part of iHeartMedia. We're a global media and entertainment company. Our sort of simple vision is connecting music fans with their favorite artists and personalities, and we do that through our 858 owned and operated radio stations, Z100, Kiss FM, Q104, our events such as the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and of course our digital products, our apps across mobile, tablet, home and consumer electronics such as Sonos and Roku, and of course our automotive integrations.
Great. And when it comes to data, I mean, what are you guys trying to do? How would you kind of describe your overall vision?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and our data engineering team is here, so they'll keep me honest. I think from a data standpoint, we want to make things as self-service as possible. You mentioned the bread line before. So a little bit of a side note, we had that problem pretty significantly to the point where, and this is not a joke, our data engineering team has one of those deli ticket counters sitting on their desks, and you would come by and take a number and wait. But I think self-service is a big component of data engineering. We want to be able to empower the product, the analytics teams to be able to make important product decisions that feed the product itself.
Yeah. What kind of success, any stories of success that you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the self-service has become really great. Looker's been a huge component of that. Our research teams, our BI teams can do a lot more. I think an unexpected success story probably is around our use of the cloud. So we moved off of on-prem onto Amazon about 7 months ago. And one thing that Amazon offers is a lot of pricing data. So they have these cost allocation reports that they could ship to you twice a day. And a common complaint in the cloud is always server sprawl, not understanding how much you're spending, and all of a sudden you wake up one day and you have a $10,000 bill. So we actually load all the pricing data into Redshift. We have Looker sitting on top of it. So we actually have pretty detailed instrumentation around how much we're spending across different application stacks. We can know if there's cost variance. And so we have really good visibility into the cost of the cloud. We use tagging very accurately, and so that's been like a really huge success for us.
Yeah.
Unexpected.
What have the obstacles been, as you look at scaling your programs and getting more people self-service? What have the big obstacles been?
I guess there's a couple things. There's more and more data sources, and so when there's a lot of these data sources, there's more to it than just storing a bunch of data. There's obviously the correlation aspect. Sometimes the data may tell you something, but understanding causality could be a little bit tricky. So was there a marketing push? Did we do push notifications? Was there an outage? Did iOS do an update that can maybe impact some performance? So I think obviously storing all that data and making the reporting and everything self-service has been really powerful. But there's always still that extra layer of kind of peeling the onion and understanding, why does the data look the way it does? What are the other external factors that we're maybe not capturing in the data warehouse that can be driving some of these variances in data? So, I think that analysis still is, something we have to work on and can be a challenge at times.
Yeah. What are the next big projects? Anything interesting that you tell us about?
So if it's my choice, I think real time is an area we haven't really spent probably enough, just for the sake of time on the engineering side. And so we want to, move away from batch and really get more sophisticated with the things we're doing with Spark and more real-time computation. I'd say secondly, we probably would be in the A/B testing space. And so we want to get a little bit more sophisticated around, rolling out different versions of the product, being able to sort of record metrics and understand how those different versions are impacting users and, kind of use that to make more rapid product decisions. Those are two of the bigger ones for us, I think.
Right. So as you kind of look at obstacles of driving this data thing and this data culture, what are the big things that you have to move? Is it the cultural stuff? Is it the technology? How would you characterize that?
Yeah, luckily I would say culturally, no issues. I think we're a pretty data-driven organization in general. We have a pretty good life cycle in terms of how we use data. We instrument our applications really well. The BI teams and the product teams use that data. Again, I think the biggest challenge is just really kind of understanding sometimes what the data means. Like having all this data stored is great, but there's always that additional analysis and understanding why is the product behaving a certain way? Like, why are our Android users all of a sudden down 10% month over month? The data isn't always going to give you an answer to those questions. So I think, trying to continue to enrich the data to help answer those questions quicker has been one of the obstacles, because it's not a magic bullet, right? You're not just going to get the answers. You're going to get information and data, but there's always analysis required on top of that information. So trying to simplify that for us is always an ongoing obstacle that'll probably never go away.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are doing a lot. What would be maybe one or two of the lessons learned that you could share?
I guess a couple big ones are, sometimes you have to work backwards, right? So you spend all this time building a data platform, and maybe you made an engineering decision that you can only store 3 months of data for cost reasons or scaling reasons, and then when you're done, the sales team comes back and says, hey, we need 24 months of reporting going back month over month, and you totally disconnected on what you've built and what the business needs. So sometimes you have to kind of work backwards and kind of understanding, how much granularity do you need in terms of data. So you have to work backwards a little bit sometimes to make sure you're building the right thing. There's more than just kind of storing it and moving on. And the second thing I would say that we learned and continue to learn is making sure, and this is client and back-end applications, making sure that you have a lot of thought around how you architect the instrumentation. So sometimes we roll out a new feature, and instrumenting different things can be hard, just where it is in the app or where it is in the back end. So try to be sort of meaningful about when you architect your applications, having a more centralized kind of thought around logging and instrumentation. So as you add new features, you don't have to worry about sort of this heavy lift in terms of getting more data out of new functionality. So
Right, no, those are helpful.
yeah.
Adam, thanks for coming.
Always
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great.